iDubbbz do a video with Dax Fame interviewing that one girl with the homeless rant was hilarious. And then someone says, iDubbbz, listen, I've met iDubbbz. He's very nice and very chill. And iDubbbz has changed. I talked to him about it because I was like, I've always been fascinated at that kind of change. If you want to say iDubbbz, you have to say H3. And maybe you do, but there has been a very demonstrable change in their attitudes online. H3. Well, there you go. If you really want to say that, you can. But I think both of them have very obviously come a long way with their attitudes as a result of being relatively open-minded. And I think we should embrace that kind of obvious growth. You don't have to love it, but I think it's important to acknowledge it. Seems nice, but I don't love his use of the N-word semi-recently. Semi-recently is like 7 years ago. Maybe like 6 years ago, 5 years ago. That's so long in internet time. Say what it's just long in general. Say that what you will about H3, but having Hasan on one of the regular shows is a great way to help normies into leftism. Absolutely. And their audience has been very receptive to that because of the way they've handled it. H3 Ethan trended on Twitter like last week because he said we should bomb Vatican City. I mean, that's hilarious. I love when he gets in trouble because it's always pretty funny. Filthy Frank vanishing and becoming Joji. Like, it's obvious, like, that these people have changed and grown as people and don't want, like Ian iDubbbz doesn't want to be fucking associated with his old videos. Like, there's a clear resentment for the aspect of his fan base that won't let go of content that he probably isn't that proud of. I think we've talked about it before, but like the first Content Cop is a really bad video. It's like poorly written, it's poorly edited, it's poorly, like he doesn't making arguments that make sense. If it were to come out today, it would never crack 100 views. It's just a bad video. It's like one of those random channels that we stumble upon when we get really fucking high and watch fucking random YouTube videos. Like, that's the level of amateurish, like that's the level of how amateur that video is. But it like started commentary as we know it in a lot of ways. It like built a community almost solely out of like that kind of genre. Hasan is barely leftist. That's hilarious. That's just untrue. So my point is, Ian has obviously moved on and has become a better person with better advocacy, better goals. And hasn't even like, he doesn't even address it. He never did some self-aggrandizing, self-serving apology video. I feel like that's taking more responsibility. Because Ian could make a video that's like, guys, I made some really troubling content in my past. And that video would get 10 billion views and becomes something that people like talk about on the internet for years. Now I'm black and I don't feel like accepting anyone saying that other than black folk. I don't care how much you've changed. And you know what? If that's something you hold on to, I respect that 100%. Like, especially as a black person. Because if you can't forgive someone who's used that in their past, I totally understand. But my point is you got to be consistent with it, right? And like, I personally, it's not my place to forgive or not. My personal opinion is that I think as leftists, it's important to embrace people who change, because if everyone who's not a leftist, who has like normie transphobic, normie racist takes that are just ingrained into American society, if everyone who's not a leftist and has those kinds of takes is our enemy that we never forgive, like we will never build a coalition and we'll never build power. We'll never normalize anything. If change isn't the goal, what is? Exactly. I think Ian could do a video addressing his past in a good way. That's the thing, though. He has addressed it. He just hasn't made like a video about it. He's addressed it. He went on Hasan's broadcast. He's addressed it there. He addressed it on the H3 podcast. Like, prior to Creator Clash, he went on kind of a tour of several different podcasts and shows. It was to, promote Creator Clash, but a lot of people had questions, especially Hasan, about his old content. And both he and his wife, Anissa, were like, yeah, that audience fucking sucks. And I'm like, I regret the fucking shit that I've said in the past. Making a video about it feels performative at this point. Just let him keep growing and getting better. Love and forgiveness has got to be vital for positive change. Absolutely. I think it's core to being leftists. You know what I mean? Anyway, I understand if a person says the N-word in their life and you feel like that just makes them a bad person permanently, I get it, but I can't think that way. And I don't think most people should feel that way, but I understand. Because it's fucked up. It is. We as black people aren't afforded the same liberty. I understand. Like, I recognize forgiveness is a point of privilege. So, yeah, and you know, I'm also biased because that's coming from someone who had a very, like, right-wing era. I had a very right-wing era because of, you know, the way I grew up and the experiences I had. And, you know, like a lot of normies, I grew up with a really conservative political education. I remember when I was a kid and I asked my mom what communism was because I like heard it on the news or something. And she told me it was when everybody gets paid the same and you're not allowed to own a car. It's like she described it as like when the government owns your house and your car.
People and meet people where they are from a point of sympathy and humanity, but forgiveness does not need to be a part of that, and the onus should never fall on minoritized groups.
Absolutely. I agree. Meeting people where they are past a certain point, obviously. Like there are people who are like beyond saving or like not worth anyone's emotional energy because they refuse to change. I think forgiveness is an idea rooted in Christianity. I don't know what you mean by that. Is that like a good thing, or like, are you Christian and you're like, yeah, I'm Christian, so I have to forgive? I don't know what you're saying. Because it's not like Christianity didn't invent forgiveness. God created forgiveness, the Christian God. Change is part of being human. Nothing can stay the same forever. I agree. And I think it's human to forgive. Christians are told to like forgive everyone, and it annoys me so much. Yeah, it's like a stupid, it's dumb. Shout out to the white man in the sky. Forgiveness, I think, should be more so for your own peace of mind as opposed for someone else. No, I know, but I'm advocating for people to be open-minded in the way that they forgive other people. You know what I mean? Don't need forgiveness to be open-minded. You need accountability. But accountability can only go so far. People hold Ian accountable, but that doesn't mean you can't forgive at all. Like, I don't forget. I know, and I use his videos as an example of how people became radicalized, even myself. But he has to still be able to exist, I feel. I think he still has that right, and if he's going to have better priorities and advocate for better things and use his, you know, fucking wealth and his platform in better ways, then I think that's good. Doesn't mean you need to forgive, though. I'm like, I just don't know what you want then. You can cautiously move forward with the knowledge that that person has it in them to harm you in such a way. Nobody's owed forgiveness. CPTSD's therapy is built on that. And I understand that. I do. And also different people have different thresholds for forgiveness, like I mentioned earlier. I'm not saying everybody has to, but everyone has the different capacity, and I'm telling you why I should. And if you also have that capacity, you probably should too. Just like logically. I think people are using two definitions of forgiveness. One is acknowledgement of change versus becoming BFFs. It's not that extreme. Yeah, I do think people associate forgiveness with liking. I don't feel like, and like forgiveness is even like a heavy word for what I'm doing. I'm acknowledging it. I'm not forgetting it, holding it against him. Like I do hold it against him actually, for like the different version of him. I just, when people bring him up now, I'm like, no, he's cool. Like if you guys could see some of the videos that I made when I was 17, just because they're not public doesn't change what I did. I didn't fucking say the N-word. I didn't do anything like that. But like I still had horrible takes and horrible advocacy. Is Ian on the Dream Blunt rotation? Yes. I would put him there. I think in general, Chad is misunderstanding what forgiveness means in this context. Forgiveness doesn't have to be like being friends with or liking someone. It can just be an acknowledgement that the past and present are different. Yeah, I agree. We have all maybe done or said something.
Being the friend of Keffals made me realize that you can't hold someone accountable online.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people around that person, Earl, that can hold them accountable. You as a random online cannot do shit.
And that's also a very wise perspective, I think. And like, I mean, you provided context. Like it's an informed perspective. How did this topic start? Someone brought up iDubbbz and then someone said fuck iDubbbz, and I'm elaborating on my, I think, nuanced opinion on iDubbbz. But yeah, I think that's a very informed position. Like you can't hold someone accountable online. Accountability doesn't exist to people that you don't know, right? Because we're talking about moral accountability. And you don't value random people's morals on the internet. We're not allowed to set our own boundaries. What is going on in chat? I don't know if you're replying to me or not. I didn't really talk about boundaries because I'm talking about personal forgiveness and personal understanding of someone else's growth as a person. Am I drunk or does chat feel hostile? This is just leftism. Oh my God. People are very passionate about their takes, and I don't think anyone's upset. I don't think anyone's mad. I'm just elaborating on my perspective and trying to figure out what other people think. Angrily agreeing is leftism, kind of. Ethan is saying you should forgive based on your own boundaries while acknowledging that people can change. Yeah, pretty much. Like engaging with talking points or like engaging with other people's opinions that you don't agree with sometimes does feel hostile when you have social anxiety, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You know what I mean? It's a innate conflict averse feeling, but it's fine. Everyone's chill. But there are some people in chat like I think oversimplifying takes and be like, chat is just saying this, and it's like I want to hear what people say specifically, you know? I don't like the oversimplifying takes, thank you. Yeah, it's something to avoid for sure because it frustrates the people being spoken for and spoken over. I know people can change, but if you're not in my actual life, how am I to know that when you've changed, when you haven't really shown that? That's the thing though. Ian has changed, and the only way to know that is to be like a fan of his. And I think that's more valuable than being public about it because you come across more genuine. You're showing genuine change rather than forward-facing public change that gets trending on Twitter. Because it also comes with Keemstar making a video about it and like potentially radicalizing more fans of his. And former fans of yours becoming reactionary specifically in retaliation to what you're doing publicly. Like it avoids that. And changing privately is like a healthier way to change anyway. He didn't make a statement. He did things and kept things quiet in his normal life. But now he does say on the H3 podcast, yeah, that was fucking cringe. Yeah, those people who love those videos suck. He will say publicly. He just isn't saying it unless he's being asked. Not everyone has to spend time and traumatize themselves to educate people who've harmed them. If more others did, it would take the pressure of effort off those who are being most marginalized. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's not fair to just be like, oh, you know, I'm educating. I'm telling you guys that he has changed. And I think if you ask anyone who still watches his videos, iDubbbz's videos, anyone who still watches them would tell you. I'm always a bit skeptical of creators that push me into more right-wing spaces, but I also recognize change in future actions. Yeah, absolutely. Here's a great comparison, okay? Think about iDubbbz versus Shoe0nHead, okay? Shoe0nHead very publicly, very openly says, I'm not like I was in the past. That was sure cringe. And then doesn't do anything differently. Operates in like the same capacity, still homophobic openly, still like really reactionary and fucking annoying. Shoe0nHead is a former anti-SJW pick-me who I used to watch. Homophobic when? She is literally like QAnon level. She'll post like a drag show and be like, look, there's children there. And they want to, she like did the Balenciaga thing where she was like, they're signaling to child predators by putting child predator in big text over the screen. Whack. She's also transphobic. Yeah, isn't she like non-binary? Like she's like non-binary isn't real. At least that's what her old take was. I don't know if she still says that. But take that as an example. Someone who publicly says they've changed and their audience will tell you, oh, Shoe's different now. That's like a common thing people say on the internet when she hasn't actually changed versus Ian, who's like the same level of bad back in the day, changing his content. He doesn't do the same videos anymore and changing everything in his personal life and not publicly saying, I'm better now, guys, don't worry. And then when somebody asks, hey, what about those old videos that you did? He's like, yeah, those suck. Gus Johnson, another fantastic example. Guys, I am so sorry. I'm actually a good guy. Don't worry about it. Not actually a good guy. Since people don't often move on from the MB isn't real take, yeah, there's no like normal shit that like there's no exposure to like more nuanced ideas of non-binary identity. Like if you don't think about it, you'll never have your mind changed because no one's out there changing minds. Even Ethan from H3 has changed. That's what I mean. I agree. If anything, she's gotten worse publicly. Yeah, because she's just gotten a bigger platform to like harass gay people with. PewDiePie would be an example. He's an example of what I'm talking about with Ian. But the thing is, his like a lot of his core, like I don't think he's better in like a lot of ways. PewDiePie I also have a lot of nuanced takes with. Like there's no blanket way to go about it. It is case by case, for sure. Was Bill Burr a chud, or does he give off reformed chud vibe? So with people like Bill Burr, he's not chronically online like everyone else. He's not like an online figure. So he has no idea what like being reformed is. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that concept of like, oh, I'm publicly better. Because in his mind, once you're canceled forever. P-Man spitting this evening. The edible's hitting extra hard. We're getting talky. Yeah, Bill Burr has some like really stupid trans takes. Not nearly as bad as Dave Chappelle's, but still like dumb, normie, like Bostonian. He has the same trans takes as every non-trans person in Boston. But I think he has really good takes. I agree. Yeah, he's like the least transphobic comedian. But I think Bill Burr has some very good takes and some very good wisdom on how to reach normal fucking guys. Normal fucking guys who just sits around watching the Celtics, okay? I guess in Boston they call it the Celtics. Did you just pronounce Celtics with a hard C? That's how it's actually... No, that's how it's actually pronounced. Because they're based off Celt immigrants from fucking Scotland. Celtics is the incorrect way to pronounce it. Are you saying on the people on this stream aren't normal? I don't remember when I said that. Fuck, somebody asked a question. I've already forgotten. Oh. PewDiePie didn't use the N-word a lot. I've been watching since 2012. You being like a bad or racist person isn't measured by how many times you don't say or don't say the N-word. What's your take on Family Guy? I also have very nuanced takes about Family Guy. I like think about stuff a lot. What's your favorite kind of bread? Dude, uncut. The full round loaf that they make bread bowls out of sourdough. And I cut it myself. Or I rip it apart sometimes and I eat it uncut. Opinions on South Park. Who up uncut? Who up with they worm uncut? Listen. I don't know if I finished what I was saying. I'm so high. I don't know if I finished what I was saying. What's your opinion on rye bread? Jewish rye is good. I'm not a huge fan of dark rye. Not the Pokemon. Not dark rye, the Pokemon. Either be like, I don't know about you guys, but I've gotten really into thinking lately. I'm so sad now, sheesh. Wait, why are you sad, Banana Milk? Oh, because PewDiePie said the N-word and he did also shout out. He didn't shout out Nazis. He shouted out Nazis. He just didn't know. He didn't know they were Nazis. He like shouted out like some anime channels that he liked, and one of them was a Nazi channel.
Seem to remember Ethan saying he wouldn't get as high for this stream, Lamau. All jokes though, loving it. Keep being you, king.
When did I say that? I never said that. That's a lie. Why did Pews get so popular? Luck. Pure luck. He had a weird Nazi phase. Yes, PewDiePie was visibly radicalized. And this is, again, it takes being extremely online and an extreme PewDiePie fan like I was to know and notice. You said it last night. Oops. What are you going to do? Make me less high now? Suck it out of me? I didn't mean it like that. Like a vacuum is what I meant. Anyway, he also paid some guys on Fiverr to hold up signs that say death to Jews. Yeah, I know. I didn't mean it like that. Suck it out of me. Okay, shh. Listen. Not like a vacuum, weed vacuum. Like the little at the dentist, at the little thing that they use to like slurp your spit out of your mouth. That's how you can get people less high. Just put that in your lungs. I'm not saying I want that. I'm just saying that's how you would do it if you had to. Use you as a bong, inverse bong. Someone clip that? No. Okay, listen. PewDiePie was someone that was visibly, over the course of watching his content over a long period of time, was visibly more and more radicalized towards reactionary ideas over time. And I'm telling you guys this because you either know exactly what I'm talking about or you have no idea what I'm talking about, and you just know the big moments in his like controversies.
Ethan really trying to get some slurp.
No. After the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand, I believe, if I remember correctly, that was the one where the kid said subscribe to PewDiePie, I think, right before he shot a bunch of people. And yeah, okay, that's the one that I'm talking about correctly. After that point, I think it gave him a very sobered perspective a little bit, and he has talked about that publicly, like that being like a very impactful moment. I forgot about that. Yeah. Also, don't forget that multiple mosque attacks have been by people who were very open Ben Shapiro fans, not just one. So I think after that point, his channel got a lot less, like you could see that the takes less, right? It wasn't that he had better takes all of a sudden, is that he was just like, his content didn't have a lot of political takes or political adjacent takes at all. Whenever you do recognize takes of his now, whenever he like says something and you're like able to kind of connect that to like some sort of, you know, conservative usually swing, like you can tell his takes are still reactionary, but not in like a right, like alt-right, far-right way, in like a Reddit way. He still has like kind of fucking weird takes on women and shit. Like he's someone that I think has definitely gotten better. He went from like a 4chaner to a Redditor. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it, like he's not a fucking leftist. For sure he's not. But I think he's just like a normie, yeah, Dutch centrist. Like just like a normie fucking kind of dumb guy on the internet.
You recently made fun of a black deaf woman for her signing and her nails. He's definitely not doing great.
Well, don't say you. I didn't do that. That was him. Why did you say you? That was PewDiePie that did that. And yeah, that is like an example of like a Redditor. I didn't mean to say you. Tell that to the judge when I'm getting arrested for racism. Yeah, like him making fun of like a deaf black woman for like signing, like that wasn't an active racism or ableism. That was a very passive, like, I don't believe that he like did that consciously, but the ignorance to not think about it is missing from him. And that's like a core difference in being like a more leftist person. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't stop to think. He just says it. And that is a very common kind of racism. That kind of racism is way more prevalent in your daily lives. That's the kind of like, that's the first steps to like becoming more of an ally, is recognizing the underlying racism that you have. Did you grow up Mormon, or am I thinking of someone else? I had a lot of Mormon family that like tried to get me into Mormon stuff. He needs no excuses. Guy is literal scum. I disagree. I disagree, Gary. I think he's like a gamer / neg. Like I think he, you know, has like really bad misinformed takes in a lot of ways, but I disagree that he's malicious or like overtly racist in the way that he used to be. But is gamer better than scum? That's debatable. PewDiePie not inherently bad? No. But he went from like really bad to like mid bad. He's just like whatever. Dismissively bad. Yeah, no one is defending him. He's just dumb, and I'm acknowledging that. I've never liked PewDiePie's content. Here's the thing. I have entirely different takes about his content because I think he's a fucking terrible creator. Someone described him in a video I saw recently as basically a text-to-speech of Reddit, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was a really good take. Thank you, Joan. Joan Raid. What's up, Joners? The Joners brothers. Did I say that last time? Fuck! We're talking about forgiveness. And we're talking about the nuanced takes on individual people that have obviously been reactionary or radicalized publicly on the internet. We were talking about iDubbbz as one example of someone who's visibly gotten better, and PewDiePie as an example of someone who got really bad and is now just like mid. JonTron's a good example. JonTron is a good example. That's actually really good. Okay. To the people who still might not fully agree with me on what I was saying about iDubbbz, I say, I think he did the right thing by just not publicly being like, guys, I'm so sorry, I made really bad videos, because his old videos are really bad. He publicly was just like, I'm just going to do different stuff now because I have gotten better in my private life, and that's like visibly reflected in what he does online. It does require a lot of like knowledge of, his content to like have that perspective and that like charitability. But if you do, that's the case. JonTron is a great example of someone who did that same thing, but got way worse. Like, he was also called out, didn't make an apology video, and changed in his private life, but he changed for the worse. And every time you see reflections of his perspective in his content, it's really fucking bad. It is really fucking bad. It's like every so often, if you are political brained like me, when you hear a point or a joke made, you get like a glimpse into like their brain, right? Like you can tell where they get their like worldview from. You could see their worldview reflected in their art. Who the fuck is JonTron? What a dumbass name. Oh my god, I love people with like who don't have fucking context for that kind of shit. That's awesome. Last night you said you had nuanced takes on Chris Chan. Oh my god, that's like fucking such a deep one. Okay, JonTron, fucking full circle, JonTron would be a Nick Fuentes fan. He probably honestly could be. JonTron is an actual white supremacist, despite the fact that he's like half Arabic or Persian or whatever. Like, dude was fucking crazy. Let's do some lore. JonTron, Destiny. So the only good thing Destiny's ever done was expose this fucking worm. How I escaped my gamer bro mentality. God, dude, every time I look at a fucking Destiny stream, every time, oh my god, I feel like I'm actually being poisoned right now. Looking at the screen, I feel like is doing physical damage to me. What the fuck is going on here? You can barely see the goddamn chat. There's 2 Destinies on screen because we definitely needed more of those. There's a fucking Thanos tiled in the background in 2 places so you can see the fucking top half of his eyes and the chest part, thank God. But on top of the chest of Thanos is a VTuber, maybe Eris Talks. We'll get to why the text is there and the fucking dog shit font that it's in later, but she's on top of Thanos, so maybe they're trying to say that like that's all like, like doing a community meme, but it looks like this is a screenshot from a Discord call, apparently, with Eris Talks with Destiny, whatever the fuck that means, with like, someone else's Twitch overlay over top of it. It's awesome. And then a different font on top with a watermark and like whatever the fuck this decoration shit is. And that's coming up. That's just what's coming up. Okay? In the meantime, that's obscuring a third of the max resolution of the screen game of RuneScape. Behind that is just a picture of a guy. And behind that is something completely indistinguishable with the little live Destiny reaction in the corner. I don't care what you think about Destiny or if you even know who this weird guy is. He's like a really weird guy, and I don't like him. Whatever you think of him, this cannot stand. This makes me sick. Anyway, that's Destiny. Just fucking chaos on the screen. Destiny sucks, but the only good thing that he ever did was 5 years ago where he, for some reason, had JonTron on. I had no idea. He's obviously made several videos since capitalizing on the only good thing he's ever done, because Destiny has, like, good debate skills. He's like a really good debater, and because JonTron was really racist, he cornered him into saying some really fucking racist shit and then doubling down and justifying it. He then made like a couple of half-assed apologies. Is JonTron the meme guy? He's in a lot of memes. Yeah, he was really big in like the early 2010s, making like AVGN style gaming videos, and then now he just does like random shit. He's like a bad commentary YouTuber. Remember when JonTron got called out for saying the R word and he just fucking went wild? I mean, yeah, for sure. He used to be on Game Grumps too. Yeah. He's the old Game Grumps guy. So he got JonTron to say some really fucking horrific shit. And it became like a whole thing. Even I was like convinced back in the day. You really out here destroying my old faves today? I'm sorry. The world is a flawed place, but we can ask more. We can ask more of the people we like idolize. For lack of a fucking better term. Even Video Game Donkey made like jokes about it. And like even I like justified it. Thank God Pro Jared's never had a controversy. Yeah, thank God. Bully Doug Walker next. Hell yeah. I don't need to do that. Doug Walker does it himself. Yeah, this shit's like such like chronically online bullshit. I don't want to click on this.
It is a European nation historically. There's just no debating that. When people try to debate that.
He's talking about America, by the way.
Yeah, there was obviously the slave population who lived here, brought here against their will. So they were emancipated.
The first thing that you just said doesn't.
So a lot of what JonTron said in this video was like absolute open white nationalist rhetoric. And like this was years ago. The actual debate was 5 years ago. Yeah, Jonathan Jafari, definitely 100% white. And he's like gotten so much, he's just bad. He became like, he had like some anti-vax takes. Like he's clearly so reactionary and so over the top right wing and like misinformed and like super stupid. Like he's literally the kind of person like who like flees California because it's gotten too damn liberal. He lives in like New Hampshire now. And he literally said wealthy blacks commit more crime than poor whites. That is a direct quote from him. He says racism doesn't exist in America. Like there's so many. I don't want to watch this whole fucking thing because it's a waste of time. But like, is this a guy from the GIF? Yeah, he's in a lot of GIFs. Yeah, like there's so many horrible takes. They were such bad takes that if he was better by now, you would know from just watching his content. And like his apologies for this were fucking horrible. It is bad. Can I ask what reactionary means? Is it a specific kind of right-winger? Yeah, being reactionary basically just means it's like the antithesis of progressive. Like things change. Anything different from like traditionalism makes you just fucking foam at the mouth. Like you have very specific issues that you care about.
To visit JonTron to suck racism out of him.
There you go. He gets the dentist fucking sucky saliva tube. And we'll get the racism out. What he said about Goop was right. Well, yeah, Goop, of course, is a fucking scam. But you don't need JonTron to fucking tell you that Goop is, like, silly shit. Yeah, Jimmy Dore, Russell Brand, people who, you know, Donald Trump. Donald Trump isn't reactionary. He's just a normal Republican. He has, like, reactionary tendencies. That's true, actually. Like, basically any transphobic take is, like, inherently reactionary. Isn't Goop the explosive vagina candles? Hell yeah. Has Destiny always been consistently bad? Honestly, I don't know. But I don't like him. I don't like him currently. You guys talking about me? No! A creator named Destiny. And that's not you, right? It'd be scary. Matt Walsh, yeah. Ben Shapiro. Okay. He literally hangs out with Nick Fuentes. Yeah. He, like, is in contact with Nick Fuentes on a friendly level. I'm gonna say it. Destiny? Kind of dumb. True. Can I have your jacket? Actually, you can on ghostboy.land. This is my friend's clothing brand. And he makes really good hoodies. Ghostboy.land. Go buy the sweater. Go buy it. Go buy it from my friend. Do you guys fuck with hummus? Good question. I fuck with hummus.